So let's say you want to get more done during the day. Who doesn't, right? Well, the first step is to kick your BlackBerry out of bed. That's right. Sometimes you just have to stop working, AC, to be able to get more done.
So how does that make sense? Career coach Jason Womack is here to explain how to make our best even better. Jason, welcome to Live at 9. Good to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
We want to be as productive as possible. We want to keep that BlackBerry, that iPhone, that Droid, or whatever that smartphone is close by to get a lot done for the boss and for ourselves. But you're saying sometimes we have to put it down?
I think there's a time and a place for everything. And one of the things that I've found is that action follows attention. And so if the first thing I do is start consuming new, then those best laid plans of mice and men, those things that I had thought about doing yesterday that I didn't have time for, all of a sudden are getting consumed from the get-go. I have clients who tell me that they wake up in the morning with their BlackBerry as their alarm clock, and before they've left their pillow, they're already checking their messages.
Wow.
Now, some careers or some jobs need that, but I am suggesting to study that and to find out how that works for you.
Do you make your list of top 5 things you have to get done like the night before?
A coach of mine suggested I do that many years ago when I was still a high school teacher, and she said, Jason, pick today the 3 or fewer, and she called them MITs, my most important things.
Okay.
My most important things weren't to-dos. They were areas of focus. So what was I going to be great in tomorrow?
Okay.
And if I start to think about that, well, here's the thing. I can usually get through those 3, and so all of a sudden I'm ahead of the game. Where when someone gives themselves a long list of to-dos, they end the day not having done everything, there is that feeling of, oh, I wasn't enough today.
Right. But these days we also hear, Jason, so many times the phrase, you know, do more with less.
Yes.
Can that be done, though?
Well,
and can we do it as an employee without killing ourselves at the same time?
Exactly. And I'm very interested in what is the less that they're saying we have less of. Less resources, less finance, less staff, less time. And every single one of those has an entree point that I talk about in the book. So for example, in chapter 3, when we talk about time management, you know, most of us were brought up, I was anyway, to remember that there were 24 hours in a day.
Right.
But I think about it as there are 96 15-minute blocks in a day.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden, when someone runs 15 minutes late to a meeting, they've used 1% of my time. So I can get very, very clear about how I'm going to use those chunks.
And that's what you talk about. Always take a little bit of work, because that is going to happen, and you can get a lot done in that 15-minute block.
I will be given, I call it bonus time.
Yeah.
And I'll be given bonus time. It happened this morning.
Okay.
We got here to the studio a few minutes early. I'm not from the area, so I didn't know how to judge traffic. And we had just a few extra minutes in the lobby area, and I was able to do a couple of the things that I talk about are very important to me in
Instead
the
of
day.
just chatting and whiling
Or
the
waiting.
time away, or waiting and not doing anything.
So are we taking more control of our environments ourselves, or are we trying to manipulate others so that it works a little bit better for us? How should we look at this?
The word manipulate is very interesting, isn't it? You know, when someone leaves an interaction, so one of the questions that I ask myself when I talk with someone is, when I leave the interaction, do I feel better about myself or not?
Okay.
Someone who's manipulating me, on some sense, I'll notice that. Someone who's building this situation, moving the mission forward, I say, they'll also be able to feel that. So in the book, at the end of the book, we talk about making more. And some people think that that's making more money. Some people think that that's getting the next promotion. I always say, take a look at what you made last week. I made memories. I made some nice trips. I made a great dinner for my wife. Next week, what would I like to make more of?
Yeah.
What are some things that I'd like to have that time and the balance for?
I love it. And you can do that if you kick the BlackBerry out of bed. All right. Jason, there's the information on the screen. 5:30, you're going to be talking at Rhodes College. Where
Jason, thank you very much. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Okay.